Hello. Hello, guys. I'm gonna have to use the microphone on the laptop, so hopefully it's not too bad. If you can hear me now, then please let me know. But you should be able to. I know it's not going to be as clear, but we'll see. I don't know what's happened. I don't know why my posh microphone's not working, but it's not working for some reason. Right, so a couple of people saying they can't hear me. No sound either. Chris saying, I thought I'd gone deaf. Hello all. Hey Chris, how you doing? Working now. Hello. Hi, can hear you now from Kathy. Brilliant. So if you're watching on Facebook and this is the first time, wherever you're watching this, there'll be a link above the video. If you click that and then just give the software permission to share your name, then I can obviously I know who's asking questions and talking. But if you don't do that, then all I get is Facebook user, as it says there. Okay, so whoever that is saying it sounds fine to me. Brilliant. Chris saying can hear you. Good. Okay, so what I was saying before is this is obviously my weekly Q&A where I'll answer questions about fitness, food, lifestyle, general questions about boot camp, whatever it might be. The aim of it is to kind of, get you unstuck and moving forward and to answer any questions you've got. I don't really have any structured training that I'm going to do today. So nothing really planned to talk about. So we'll just see where we end up. So if you've got any questions, things that have been burning you up or you want to talk about, then let me know. Or you've got, like I said, general questions about camp and the kind of stuff that's going on, then just post them in the comments and I'll pick them up. Be good to know how everybody's getting on. Obviously, we're a few weeks into lockdown again, 21 days since we started the sugar-free challenge. Some people are doing really well in there and some great food being shared. Also, a couple of weeks into the online virtual training that the guys have been doing. That's been going really well. Who's done one of the sessions with Ash or Kev? And what have you done? I'm quite keen to hear if anybody's done the kettlebell sessions and how that's gone, because that's something that we've just introduced recently. And also, what's the other one? The MetaFit, the Saturday morning MetaFit, which obviously is coming up. How does that go down? As always with these things, there is a little bit of a delay. So as I'm talking, I'm obviously trying to pad out and bide time until someone types something. Time-wise for this, I'm thinking, we kind of go for like 20 minutes or whatever, half an hour. Longer, I can go do an hour if there's a need for it and there's plenty of questions and stuff. But if not, then we'll do 20, 30 minutes and then that'll be enough. Okay, so first question. Can you explain again the reason full-fat milk is preferred to semi-skimmed as the sugar content seems to be the same? It may well be the same. I'm going to bring up my my little whiteboard again. So pick that and bring that up there. Okay, so you should be able to see my little whiteboard here now. So basically, what we're saying is, full fat milk, we prefer it over semi-skimmed. Semi-skimmed, the difference between semi-skimmed and full fat, not as much as the difference between skimmed and full fat, okay? And what it is, it's not necessarily about the sugar content, it's about the ratio of fats and proteins to the sugar, okay? So for example, let's say milk comes out of the cow and it is these are not accurate. This is just the way it is. But let's say it comes out of the cow like this, okay? C represents sugars, as in carbohydrates, F, fat, pea protein. Let's just say roughly that this is the kind of the ratio of carbohydrates to fats and proteins. Okay, much less. Now, so this would be like full fat. All right. Now, in the 50s and 60s, fat was outlawed as being nasty and bad for us, and they attributed excess body weight and health problems to fat. And so what they did is they started producing like low fat variations because it was much more marketable. You could sell this to people that was concerned that they were consuming too much fat in their full fat milk, unpasteurized, raw milk or whatever. So they started to remove the fat content. So then, obviously, even if we keep the protein the same, let's say the protein is the same like that, what you've got now is much greater ratio of sugars, carbohydrates to fats. And now when we combine food like this, we balance it out, and the effect on insulin and blood sugar and messages in our body is reduced because, the balance of the ingredients is much more stable. It favors like fats and proteins against carbohydrates and all that. When we start removing the fat, two things happen. One, we by proxy, you increase the ratio of carbohydrates to the other food groups. The other thing that would happen as well is quite often when they remove the taste, which, a lot of the taste comes from fat, we've got to get that taste from elsewhere. Therefore, they increase the amount of carbohydrates. Okay, so that we've got more taste. So that's pretty much why. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So let me know, Kathy, if that explains it for you. Chris is saying enjoying the classes, looking at kettlebells next week, really starting to enjoy the sugar-free. That's good, Chris. That's great. It's that'd be brilliant for healing in your body as well. How are you kind of scaling things with regards to your injury or your rehab and the sessions? Are you finding that you can do most things, or are you having to amend a few, like scale a few things? Sean, hello, Sean. Craig, I'm 3 weeks post-COVID, suffering from terrible vertigo. I'm worried about doing the online training. Not done anything since COVID. Put on shed loads. I still have no smell or taste. Wondering if you have any experience of vertigo and COVID. No, I haven't. But other than when I had COVID, pretty much the only thing I was left with was what I seemed to be left with is we've got this funky rug, a bit like a big long barcode, and when I look at it, it seems like the stripes are moving. It's bizarre, and I kind of attributed that to like a little bit of like vertigo. That's the only kind of similar kind of thing. I mean, some of the sessions you may well be able to do, and you may be able to do like seated and what have you. The key thing is that if you're already putting weight on, how much longer have you got to wait before you then feel confident enough to give it a try? Maybe it's one of those things where you have a chair ready, you have everything sort of ready. You don't do anything that's going to affect your balance too much. And if you do sort of feel it a little bit, then you just you sit yourself down before you fall down, and just give it a go. And I'd be quite happy to sort of book you into a session there without you paying for a credit and testing it if you want to test it out. And just sort of be a little bit. It's the same when we get people that come to camp with like high or low blood sugar. Sometimes they can feel queasy, and we just sort of say to them, the minute you still look queasy, just sit yourself down, whatever it is, rather than fall, because most people when they fall, it's the things they hit on the way down that causes the damage. So if you're already pretty low to the floor, then you might be all right. By the way, the smell and taste, Paula, so what would she be now? We're probably 10 weeks post-COVID, and she's still not got all of her smell and taste back. So like I said, it could be a while, but it's good to hear that you got through. Hopefully the kids and that got through all right. Did they pick it up? So it's good to hear that you're on the mend. That does now. Thank you very much, Kathy. Good. Glad it helps. Monica's saying hello. How you doing? Sean saying, "Oh my God, that sounds like Vertigo." Yeah, it was absolutely weird. When I looked at this rug, and it was just like, just like shaking and that kind of stuff. So so Sean's saying, "Love it. Thank you for your advice. Let me know about that session. Get you just choose one that you think will be able to sit down the easiest, just in case, and give it a try, really." But I always worry that we put stuff off until it's the perfect time, and actually, what more damage, if you want to call it that, are we doing in that time? Whereas we can get going and try things out. Chris is saying, "If I can't do it, I will swap to squats with only 85-degree bench. Struggle getting up and down. Shame, really do miss burpees." No, yeah, I bet. No, good. I'm glad you're working on what you can do rather than getting wound up about what you can't do. That's exactly the way to look at it, so you don't get frustrated. Kathy's saying, "I had balance problems before and try and be careful how I move, perhaps a bit slower when I know a certain movement may affect me." Yeah, and it's just that, instead of going, "Oh, I feel a bit dizzy, I'll try and stand up," it's just have enough presence of mind to sort of think, "Oh, I feel a bit dizzy, I better just get low, sit myself down and just give it a minute or two." So that's good. Yeah, a couple of good questions there. Anything else? Keep them coming. How did everyone get through the storm that we've had? Have you had any flooding in your area? Bridgenorth usually gets a little bit of flooding, especially down and around Low Camp, but it's not actually that bad right now. So I think Yorkshire got all the rain. Where my mum and that is, they've got quite a bit of flooding up there. If you can hear snoring and stuff like that, it's because little Dottie, the dog, is in the back. She's in season at the minute, and the other dogs are just trying to hump her non-stop, and she's just absolutely fed up of it. So she's in my office just having a rest, snoring away. As for news at boot camp, we're sort of looking at putting together one-to-one coaching sessions. We're kind of struggling at the minute, like working out how to put the package together, because in essence, you could bolt on Paula's coaching and the online coaching, and all that together, apart from like some actual one-to-one nutrition work. You've pretty much covered with all aspects there. So it's like, what extra do the guys provide, and then how much is that, and do people want to just be able to check in every day and a bit of accountability, or do they envisage like one-to-one training sessions? So it's not quite straightforward how we put it together because of all the other little bits and bobs that we do. Kathy said, "I hope my kettlebell set will arrive tonight, but have been enjoying boot camp, fight club, and meditation." Yeah, good. I think we're looking at moving the fight club. Those sort of midday sessions are not very. I don't think many people can actually get to them. So we're looking at sort of moving them around a little bit and just making it a bit more accessible. But yeah, it's definitely been popular. It's just that thing about like punching somewhere, or imagining you're punching something. Natalie Coleman, is alcohol the worst thing with sugar content? It's not so much the worst thing. The thing with alcohol is there's two things. first thing is, it has got no other use in the body other than energy. So we're not going to. It's not going to bring any vitamins and minerals. We're not necessarily going to use it, to fuel what we're doing during the day. So it means that our liver has got to process it, and obviously, it is kind of a poison as much as we love it. And by God, back in the day, I did my fair share of ridding the world of alcohol. I drank enough of it. And then the other thing is, it's what comes on the back of that. So, even if you have a little bit of alcohol, that can disrupt your sleep, and that can cause more sugar cravings and limited willpower. And then if you have a bit more alcohol, obviously you can make some pretty, because obviously your inhibitions are less, you can make some pretty drastic food choices after that. And then the next day, obviously it can compound in that, you're feeling rotten, you're like, oh my God, I need something to pick me up, so then you have some other food, and it can just snowball. And before you know it, what we call a keystone habit can cause you a few other problems. And remember that, if it's a one-off, every other week or, once a month or whatever, well, you can get away with that because it's what you consistently do that counts. Now, the problem is that in lockdown in essence, tell me if you agree or not, it's just become a series of weekends. It's hard to differentiate between what is a weekend and a weekday, because for a lot of people, unless you're still working, it's very, very similar. Add to that added pressures, stresses and all this, then it's obvious why people are drinking a little bit more perhaps than they normally would have done. So hopefully, as in for like sugar content, there are worse things, like the energy drinks for a start. Horrendous stuff. How they are kind of allowed, I have no idea. But hopefully that's answered your question there, Natalie. Let me know if it has. Claire saying hi. How you doing, Claire? Good to see you on the call. And what about without getting too political, what about Trump? What do you think is going to be happening with the old Trump now? Do you think he's just going to disappear for a bit? I mean, he seems to be suggesting he's not going anywhere, and we haven't heard the last of him. But what do you think? Let me know. Whilst I'm kind of waiting, I'll clear this thing off. I think personal training, people can't currently get access to personal training for one-to-one at home or a new personal training plan at the gym. People may like a one-to-one plan in addition to classes. All right, okay, so like so the real, if we can draw it, it's that what value is being provided. It's that one, that's that individual plan for you. So it's that specific training plan or program and then the accountability to stick to it, relevant to your goals. Okay, yeah, I get that. That's probably really. And then how would that look? Do you think, Kathy? Do you think like one-to-one session a week or two one-to-one sessions a week? What kind of thing? Chris is saying he will be back. Yeah, we'll see. Claire saying he will make sure no one forgets him. He's too much of a narcissist not to. Monica's saying, what's the best thing for DOMs? This is after your massive run the other day. Right, a couple of things you can do for DOMs. You want to avoid sort of sitting still and immobile. You want to be sort of doing some gentle movements and keep moving. You imagine that in essence, although we don't really know, we don't truly know where DOMs actually comes from. What causes it. But we've got three good indicators of what it is. So the first one is when you exercise and you do a little bit more than you normally do, we get little micro tears in the muscles. Those micro tears, just, if you, like, I hurt my finger today, well, I've got like a tear and it hurts, so it causes pain. So that's one thing. Another thing is that we get blood pooling inside the muscle fibers, which causes pressure on the outside of the cells. That pressure, we can translate it as pain. So that's another indication. And then the third one is that we can get a buildup of toxins inside the muscles, and we register that as pain. So there's the three factors there. So when you think about that, what do we do about DOMS? Well, we need some way to promote healing for the micro tears. We need some way of getting the blood that's in the muscles out and flush that out. And then we need some way of getting the toxins out. Okay, so that's kind of, when you look at it that way, then you can kind of work out how, what's the best thing for DOMS. So first thing to do is, keep it moving, because that blood flow really can, just achieve all three of those things, but you just want steady blood flow. You don't want to encourage more blood pooling or swelling or anything like that. And you don't want to cause any more damage. So to keep it moving. Another thing you can do is, submerge your legs in cold water. All right. It doesn't necessarily have to be sort of like icy or anything like that. There's not a lot of science to say that ice baths work if you're doing it less than sort of 10 minutes. A lot of people won't do it for 10 minutes or can't, don't have the time or whatever to do it for 10 minutes. But what you can do is you can do like little 10-second submergers. One of the things that I was doing when I'm really stepping up my running, I'll have one of the kitchen pedal bins, okay, which is just high enough to get a leg in for me, and cold water, leave it outside in the cold, and then I just sort of get in at 10 seconds each leg, and I do that 3 or 4 times a day. And obviously, when you step in there, the blood is forced away from the skin, and then when you get out, the blood then rushes back. And it's just that process of getting the toxins in and out and reducing the blood flow can really help. You can take some paracetamol and ibuprofen to just take the edge off it, but it's not really going to get rid of it completely. So yeah, and then other than that, it's just a bit of light stretching and a bit of time. So that's the only thing you do. But good effort in getting the DOMS and good effort on your run. Monica is saying number 2 sessions of boot camp yesterday. Did a 6-mile walk today. Good work. You're crushing it. Natalie saying another question on sugar. Do pre-workout drinks contain a lot? And what is your advice with taking them? Well, it depends on the intensity you're going to work and your training, what we call training experience. Training experience is like now, it's not how much you know about press ups and that kind of stuff. It's like, how much, what fitness foundation have you got? So if you've been training as a pro athlete for over a decade, your training experience is much, we're not talking knowledge, like I said, it's about the physiology of your body is much greater than someone who just does like body pump twice a week, and has done it for a couple of weeks or for a couple of years or whatever. Okay, so it really depends on that because, and the other thing that it depends on is your training goal. What are you looking to achieve? Now, if you're looking to achieve a fast, like a personal best 10K run or a personal best, let's say CrossFit WOD or something like that, then there may be, or you play like a competitive sport, there may be a cause for you to take like a pre-workout drink that's going to help with that. Unless, if your goal is weight loss, weight management, or just general health and fitness, keep moving and all that kind of stuff, then it's not really needed. As long as you've got like a balanced diet, you don't really need that pre-workout because it's all extra calories. And if it's not extra calories, then it's some kind of stimulant. And, if you're trying to, it could be the other way to look at it is people often talk about a post-workout shake. And they think, I'll go to the gym. My goal is to lose weight. So in essence, my goal there is to use up as many calories as I can. Now, even if you're training really intensely, what's that going to be? 5, 6, maybe 700 calories in the hour if you're working hard. And then you come out and have your post-workout shake, which is 400 or 500 calories. You're almost just cancelling out what you're looking at doing, because your goal is weight management, but you're consuming more calories. And yes, there is an argument that you are there is what we call the golden hour. So after a session, the muscles are thirsty for more nutrients to help them repair and recover. But like I said, that's only if you're training mega intensely or at a really high level, or you're getting paid for it, and you need to be recovering really, really quickly. So other than that, there's not really a great deal of place for it, in my opinion. Hopefully that's kind of clarified for it. If you tell me your goals or what you're training for, then I can give you a bit more of a specific answer for that. Claire's saying, training wise, I think a training plan put together, considering what access to equipment, etc. people have, with a one-to-one personal session once a week, and then adapt plan as you progress. That way people can train in a way that will be suitable for what they want to achieve. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we look at it. So just give me some ideas of kind of how it works. All right, cheers, Claire. That's good. Kathy saying, possibly weekly, as you'd need to do the work to train to reach your goals. Pricing may be important for people too. Yeah, and that's the other thing. It needs to be enough for the guys, enough for you guys to have some accountability. Money, when you pay over something, that's part of your accountability. And you could go online now and search a program, but actually there's a ton of information out there, but it's the accountability which is really valuable. So it's you can probably see why it's a bit of it's not clear cut sometimes. Chris is saying the pedal bin would be a bit deep for me. It was a bit deep for me as well, Chris. So we'd have to get a little bucket or something. Kathy's saying, I was surprised how graceful Trump was yesterday, and he wrote a generous, kind letter. He'll be back once he's found a workaround for Twitter. Yeah. Did you see that he gave himself like a military, like a big 21 gun salute or whatever it was? I don't know, but he just grabbed. Oh, by the way, I'll have a military send off, please. Oh, well, that was genius. Okay, we're gonna. Unless there's any more questions come through, we'll start to wrap it up. Like I said, we'll do this every week. If there's cause for another live stream at other times on specific topics, then we'll go for it. We'll just keep letting me know, keep telling me, and we'll make it work. Claire's saying such a big ego. Yeah, definitely. Sophie said, I know we've covered this, but can't remember what was said in terms of carbs, like the bad ones, i.e. pasta, rice. Should we be able to cut these out, or okay to still eat small amounts? Okay, so this is what I kind of suggest. I'm going to bring up my my thing again. So what I kind of suggest is that hopefully you'll have brought your hand with you today. Okay, so for the way we look at it is for starchy carbohydrates. Okay, so I'm just going to put SC. For starchy carbohydrates, so your rice, your pasta, potatoes, bananas, bread, all that kind of stuff. You want about one fist. Okay, one fist of that if you're going to keep it in your diet. All right, ideally, you could quite feasibly cut this out, but you want about one fist. Okay, your fist, not your partner's fist, which might be bigger, or whatever. Okay, so it's your fist. So everyone's probably looking at their fist now, going, "Wow, that's not a lot. There's not a lot of rice," and good, because that's kind of the way we want it. For more complex carbohydrates, such as your vegetables, then you can get away with two fists. When you think about like salad, or we're having a stir fry tonight, stir-fried veg, you want, you can get away with 2 fists. Okay, and just to carry this on, protein, you want about a palm of the hand. I don't know why I'm waving at the screen because you can't see it. Okay, so your palms. When you think about like chicken or fish or prawns or anything like that, about the palm of your hand for every meal. A snack, any snacks is kind of half this, all right, ideally. So palm of your hand. You can eat, what we're trying to achieve by reducing sugar is we reduce the insulin spiking effect in the body, okay? You can have just as much of an insulin spike by either consuming meat as you do with sugar. Chicken is a classic, white meats is a classic for this. People think, oh, right, I'm reducing insulin by cutting out my carbohydrates. And they just max out on meat, and actually it can have the same effect, because the amount that you're eating will spike the insulin. Fats, you want about the end of your thumb, okay? If you're doing more of a keto style eating, and you completely cut out these, or you find that your weight loss has stalled, or your brain function isn't quite there, you can increase this, okay? So you can up that to, like, anything from the end of your thumb to 2 thumbs worth. If you sort of think of like half an avocado, about two good solid thumbs worth. But that's a bit of a personal choice. Some people need to adjust the way they eat, they think mentally, to think, hang on a minute, we've been programmed so much to give up the fat that it takes a little bit of trust to be able to do that. And some people aren't quite ready, which is fine. But if anything, work that fat content up. Again, let me know that if that's answered your question or not. Sean's saying, yes, accountability is exactly the thing. Yeah, it is. I mean, this is one of the issues, and we are a results-based business. So, we get measured on the results we provide, and 20 years ago, we entered the information age. The internet hit, and, it was all about information. Now we've got all that at our fingertips. You've got more knowledge in the palm of your hand than you will ever need. You've got access to it. So now we're in the implementation age. It's like, how do we implement this knowledge? And this is one of the things that I was juggling with the trainers when I was chatting to them about, how do we make them accountable and make them more accountable than potentially what they could do now? Like, how, if we're going to, for whatever price the personal training is going to be, how could that be perhaps Paula's coaching sessions, £47 a month? Ridiculous. There is about 20 hours of video training that they get access to, good quality stuff, plus 2 sessions. Some of Paula's sessions are 2 hours a time, 2 sessions a week, plus a live WhatsApp group so they can tap into Paula at any point. What else we got? Plus, obviously, access to these live Q&As. You bolt on 1 or 2 sessions a week, like a £5, the virtual training. I mean, how much more do you want to be able to succeed? Let's say you spend 2 sessions a week, that's £10 a week. So for £87, you are getting some immense coaching, right? So what do we then charge to have a one-to-one with the trainers? It's just, it's not quite clear cut. But I'm open to suggestions, and what you've kind of said has helped tonight. Sophie said, okay, that's great, thank you. I tend to cut them out, but do have very small amount with dinner, but bulk out with veg. Wasn't sure if I was being true, sugar-free or cheated. No, I mean, it's completely up to you. When we talk about sugar-free, ideally, we're looking at like refined sugar-free. After that, the next level is like fructose and added sugar-free, okay? After the next level up from that would be, some of your starchy carbohydrates, potatoes, rice, pasta, and all that kind of stuff. So just by keeping some in, I think you're doing all right. If it leads you to then want more, which sometimes it does, you need to be sort of questioning that. But other than that, if it's there's a lot of power in being in control of those little things that you have. All right, we can get disempowered, if that's the opposite, when we constantly feel like we've got to go without. I can't have this, I can't have that, I can't have whatever. Whenever we're restricted, sometimes we can bounce so far the other way that it's just absolute chaos. So if you're one of those kind of people that, just by keeping a little bit in, you're avoiding that feeling of restriction and therefore binging later on, perfect. If you're not, so that would be me. I'm very much like that. I could keep a little bit in. I could have, I could go and have a chocolate bar or something like that, and I'd be fine. Paula, if she has a sniff of a sweet or a bit of starchy carbohydrates, dog's choking, or anything like that, oh my God, Dottie, what are you doing? Come on, come up here and say hello. Oh, hey. The dog's choking. She just spirals, right, buddy, and craves more and wants more, and goes completely off the rails. Before you know it, she's burying her face in ice cream and all that kind of stuff that some of you will have experienced. So hopefully that's answered that. Natalie's saying thank you. Good. Sophie's saying that's really helpful, as I think it will be able to sustain what I'm doing. And and that again is a key thing. It's about constantly turning that dial. It doesn't have to be a switch where that's it, you just completely transform how you eat. It's just a conscious decision. When I first started to lose weight, and straight away if I was eating out, one of the first things I would do is just half the starchy carbs I would just get rid of. I'd scrape them on chips onto someone else's plate. I would stick them in a side plate and cover them in pepper. Any way of just getting rid of, like, ditch the bread, get rid of that, give it away. Tell the waiter you don't want it, whatever it is. And that's a great first step. So I think that's really good. So Claire's saying people that want results are going to do the work, will be prepared to pay the going rate. I am sure personal training and personal coaching, if they wanted that in pre-COVID era, they would have been paying it. So charge the value of the trainer's knowledge and experience. Yeah, happy with that. Cheers, Claire. Dottie, say hello to everybody. Say hello. Dottie over here, look. No, you're sulking, aren't you? Hey, sulking. All right, guys, so we're going to start wrapping up. My dinner has been prepared by Paula. We're having prawn stir fry. Kathy's saying she agrees with Claire. Brilliant. Okay, that's good. Any final questions? If not, Claire's saying hello, Dottie. Dottie, say hello to Claire. Say hello to Auntie Claire. Then we will. Sophie said hello as well. Then we'll call it a day. Same time next week, unless we have like an interim session on a specific topic. I'm open to suggestions. Just let me know. Chris is saying, cheers, guys. See you at training at 10. Yep, see you in the morning. Good morning, Chris. Kathy's saying, thanks, Craig. Been very helpful as always. Thank you for turning up week in, week out. I think there was a certain number of people that have done pretty much every live stream I've done. Bearing in mind I was doing daily live streams for the first 2 weeks. And Kathy is one of those. Claire is another. Claire saying, cheers, Craig. Bye. See you there. Chris at 10. And a Facebook user there saying, thanks from Demo. Demo, how are you doing? Hope you're good. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump off now. So until the next live stream or we talk again, take care.